always like to start by saying quick highs, right? So of course I say a quick hi then to Wayne and Rob and Vivian and Kalisa and everyone and George and Jan for taking the time to, of course, attend this presentation. I know it's 15 minutes, so I'm going to have to go a little quick with just the presentation in general and share with all of you about, AI powering tutoring in higher education, how it basically could be definitely a scalable but also a cost-effective approach to personalized learning. I'm Humberto Hernandez. I'm basically the principal consultant for my own company. I started my company a couple of months ago, and I've been doing this consulting work of AI powering tutoring for a couple of months with a couple of universities. So I just thought I would share some of those preliminary findings in this presentation. So, well, just a little bit about me. Just been teaching for a while now and hold a couple of certifications that enable me to do this type of work, including, certifications by AQ and also, project management. And I'm a doctor for educational leadership. So this is a little bit about, what I'm going to be sharing. Today is basically what if I told you, of course, that, we could create an AI-powered tutoring solution that basically provides instant feedback, 24/7 to students, right? Personalized learning opportunities, or provides these personalized learning opportunities for students, tailored to any type of prompt that the student enters, into the chat. It also allows faculty members to analyze that chat history and also helps faculty members, refine, pedagogical approaches by giving them a report at the end of every week that basically shows them how students utilize the tool and how they can leverage, those ways in which they use them to use the tool to, pedagogically improve, their approach to the class, etc. And it's really only at the cost of $7 per chatbot. And one chatbot can house up to 5 different courses. So that's really, what I'm going to be talking about here about how can we utilize as long as $7 a month. How can we really create personalized learning in our courses? So again, it's a scalable, but also a very cost-effective approach to personalized learning. So I'll talk very quickly about, the technical implementation, the operational considerations, some of the initial data that we got from the three institutions that we have actually implemented this model for, and also I'll be talking about the, further steps and theoretical foundations. So at the technical implementation level, something that I think is important to mention is that, we definitely frame this around, faculty learning communities, right? In this case, something very important to highlight here is that without the involvement of the faculty member in the process of ensuring that the AI-powered tutoring solution works, there was nothing. Therefore, we had to engage, faculty learning communities into the process. And that's how we have started it at the 3 different institutions where we have performed this type of work, and it has worked very well. Starting with them, right? Especially what we call an AI faculty learning community and how it is being conducted. And from there, we continue. So that's served as something very successful is to start pairing, right, some of these AI powering solutions with theoretical foundations that I'm going to be talking about later. But one of those that is foundational to this work, is the work by Benjamin Bloom's, right? The 2 Sigma problem that talks about, basically how students who receive one-on-one tutoring outperform their peers that are taught through traditional methods by 2 standard deviations, right? So we may have a student that, is below average, is not really doing very well, needs a lot of assistance and a little tutoring, and all of a sudden it doesn't become just an average student, but an above average students in a class. So we are able to do that with this type of AI powered solutions, and I'll be sharing more data in a bit. A little bit something that we in the technical implementation phase, something that we have leveraged is the utilization of the architecture of chatbots and GPT-4 4 model to basically optimize, the chatbot performance, and through different prompting frameworks, ensure that, we can provide the scalable way in which the chatbot will respond to those students. So I will talk about that, briefly in a minute. But just to let you all know, we do utilize a chatbot architecture and GPT-4 model architecture behind the process of ensuring that the AI tool, in this case, AI-powered tool, serves the role of tutoring for students. The other things that we keep in mind again, is just kind of following the process of like we acquire the subscription. Again, it's only $7 a month. Those $7 a month, which is again gives you access to one chatbot, allows you to house up to 5 different courses into that chatbot. So something really important to mention here is that the chatbot is trained with the content that is only listed or is only approved by the faculty member, and that is housed in the learning management system. So if the faculty member says, I only want these PowerPoint presentations to go here, I only want this Word file and this textbook and this video, those are the only, materials that the chatbot would respond to. It would not leverage the utilization of the internet to answer to anything else. So, and again, we utilize the prompting framework that we created around this to ensure that it doesn't move away from those guardrails, right? Only responding again to content that the faculty member trained the model in. So, a lot of the things that we keep in mind in this process is certainly providing the AI tool, the primary role of like, okay, you're a supporting AI tutor that facilitate, active learning and also critical thinking through guidance for students. That's what you are supposed to do, Brian. Then we kind of stack, a lot of these prompting frameworks around, you are here to guide students through concepts rather than providing direct answers, right? So in a more Socratic way, we ensure that students are actually learning, and of course, utilizing this scaffolding to help students again build on their existing knowledge. At the same time, something that was always a concern when we started doing this type of implementations at different universities was that some faculty members were saying, hey, we do not want to provide drafts or outlines, or I don't want the chatbot to help students answer quizzes or discussions. So in this case, we created a lot of different guardrails to again those prohibited actions to ensure that they don't provide drafts or outlines for specific content, but instead it helps the student with again in a Socratic way, recall information, retrieve information, and from there, from their own brains, of course, and from there kind of start building in a scaffolding way how to do that process. The tools for deployment into the LMS, it's really nothing different than just adding an iframe into the LMS, right? To the learning management system. Either it could be Canvas, Blackboard, Moodle, Brightspace, etc. There's so many other different ones. We just add an iframe into it, and that's how students can leverage the use of the AI-powered tutor directly into their website. Or it's no website, but LMS or any other, tool where the faculty member would like the place to go or the chatbot to go. Some of the implementation issues that I think is important to highlight during this process is that we convert like a lot of the instances when there may be accessibility issues of like graphs not being labeled and having to add alt text. That's something that we have had to leverage to ensure that it works just fine. So in operational considerations, we certainly create resources and wrap around mechanisms or resources to ensure that the students have everything they need to know how to use the tool properly and responsively and ethically, and same thing for the faculty members so that they know how to leverage the content and data to again their benefit, specifically I should say pedagogical benefit, because it really helps faculty members in the process of like, oh, this week, something like, hell, this week students ask a lot about oxygenation in nursing. Let me just take a look here. I'm gonna basically just gonna answer some of those questions, maybe in class or send a video to them to clarify some of the questions that they ask in the chatbot, things like that. So those were considerations for successful implementation that we put in place. Some of those also relate to like informing students, right? That faculty have access to the chat history, and of course and letting them know that, hey, faculty members will read this, so make sure that you use this also properly. In terms of the initial data, and I cut on a lot of information here for this very succinct presentation. For the different three institutions where we have implemented this model, 87% of the students have reported that the tool is useful to extremely useful. So this is kind of, again, because we have some NDAs and of course information that some of the data we can now provide. This is some of the initial data that we can provide, and share with all of you, that the tool has successfully helped a good amount of students. In this case, 4,000 plus students who have piloted these and have utilized this tool. So it's a really good amount of data then that we have collected, but also most of the processes aspects that we have had the opportunity to also gather great feedback from faculty members that also echo the, hey, this tool really helped me a lot. So, and some of the theoretical foundations, and I think I'm not going to try to spend too much time on this, things that relate to Benjamin Bloom's, Two Sigma problem, that I already talked about, how students can move to the standard deviation to the right when they have these tutoring personalized learning opportunities, on at their fingertips. A lot that has to do with the scaffolding, right? Self-determination theory, right? The expectancy value of the tool, and how students see that, and how this continues to keep track, right? It continues to get a lot of traction at different levels, right? For example, a lot of different articles continue to be published around how AI tutors continue to help students in engagement, right? Retention, active learning. So there's a lot of that. Again, I'm trying to be very succinct and go very quick just because I know that I don't have much time. So just kind of talking about, some conclusions in general. What we have noticed is that, yeah, this instant feedback, personal explanations, targeted practice questions, Socratic way of doing the tutoring service, and also the scaffolded responses are really helping a lot, students and also faculty members. And again, all of this exemplifies, the use of, all these data-driven opportunities and reporting opportunities for faculty and also students. I had the opportunity to actually write a book about this process. It's called AI Tutors in Action, Chatbots in Modern Education. If anybody's willing or would like to learn about it, there's a book that I wrote about the process of doing this with those institutions. And let's connect. If anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to also, answer them. And I will go quickly to the chat to see, because I have 4 more minutes in case that anybody has any questions. I hope I was on time. Sorry, I know that I was going too fast there. I know that you're helping us moderate the conversation here.
No worries. It looks like you have a question from Steve. Steve, I'm not sure if you want to unmute and ask
Yes,
more
if that's
specifics.
easier, absolutely.
Sure. I mean, the individual who responded, Mike, to my question sort of tied that up here, but really what it sounded like is that there's a lot of overlap and similarities to a custom designed GPT in OpenAI under controlled conditions, controlled knowledge, controlled guardrails, and so on. But its integration within the LMS as an iframe and individual student chat history is a real plus. So I don't really have a question anymore, but I did make that observation and it was responded to.
Yep, you are right. It's actually, yes, a GPT closed, system model, and basically the prompting frameworks around there are the ones that are actually enabling us to add some of those, theoretical foundations into them to ensure that, scaffolding takes place, Socratic way of learning, all the different ways. So you're correct. Yes, it's basically a GPT closed system that we utilize to leverage that. And it's only trained, I should just mention that something really important about the model that we're utilizing is that it only responds to the questions that the students ask based on only the content that the faculty member uploads into the tool, into the GPT model to answer. I guess that's important because, again, sometimes, people say like errors or hallucinations occur. And in this case, we mitigate them not only through the prompting framework aspects of it, but also from how the tool was created to ensure that, again, it's not possible for it to hallucinate things outside of the internet or something, because it only uses that content to respond to questions. I do see a question by Mike. Says, does your AI does the AI automatically scan the LMS to gather its data, or do it still have to train? Yeah, you could sketch information for it to train. You could do that. Meaning you can go to sketch on websites, in the LMS end of things. However, one approach that has served successfully in our second pilot for the second university was actually just to train the model with the LMS data, meaning, Word files, PDF files, etc., as opposed to sketching the websites, because we realized that a lot of the times there could be errors that took place. So we prefer to do only just documents training, uploading documents as opposed to anything else, websites. Mhm. Yeah, I know it was just 15 minutes. That's my contact information in case anyone has any questions. I'm happy to just always chat. But thank you. That's all I had. It was very quick. I know it had to be a very quick conversation. So thank you so much, everybody, for the opportunity to just come and share with all of you.